Hey, it's Travis Ford, and you're listening to the Endurance Town USA podcast, brought to you by Race Roster. Today, we're excited to bring you an interview with Maria Burton, Chief Adventure Officer and Race Director for Primal Quest, whose 8th edition will happen later this year in British Columbia. In today's interview, Maria sits down with Samantha Pruitt in Squamish, Canada, to talk with her about her role in Primal Quest and, most importantly, her why for being in the race directing space. She'll also talk about how she's super excited to take Primal Quest and Expedition Adventure Racing back to Canada, her home country and the region where the roots of the sport were first developed. Sam sat down with Maria over coffee one morning, and I'll let her take it from there.
Okay, it's typing, but we're not quite getting started yet. Because we're drinking coffee.
Yeah.
For God's sake. Okay, let's dig in. So, good morning, Maria. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
Yeah?
Good.
So, I'm up in British Columbia right now with Maria Burton of Primal Quest, working on the event. We've been here for a couple weeks now. Woo! Trampling over mountain tops, rafting rivers, ice glaciers, like all in on Primal Quest. How are you feeling besides exhausted?
I feel great.
Do you?
Oh my gosh, I love this territory.
Magnificent.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Blows me away every time I get out there.
Exactly. I know you've been working on this event for several years. It's golden. It's fantastic. But the work that goes in behind the scenes, I don't think people have any clue the extent of work that is required for something like this. No idea.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You feeling good?
I do.
We got a lot done.
Yeah, we're definitely nearing the closure on getting things wrapped up. It's very detail oriented, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Each little piece, and you can.
It's a race within a race within a race within a race.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can just keep digging down, and finally you got to just like pull the cord. Okay, I think we're good.
Yeah.
And I think we're nearing that point, so it's good.
Well, the elements change. Everything changes with the seasons and all of the different variables. And you've come here over and over at various times a year, and so you have to take so many things into consideration. So let's talk a little bit about you as a person. I know there's a lot of people out there in the endurance sports world that have probably heard of you as an athlete, as a race director, connected to Primal Quest. But we'll get there for sure. But I'm fascinated, and I've come to hang out and play with you and be on this exceptional team to get to know you a little bit better as the person that you are as a whole. So what I've learned is extensive, because we've spent an enormous amount of hours together having a good time. But for our audience, like, you're a mom. You've got 2 kids.
Yeah, 2 young kids.
They're both adopted. That's
Yes.
awesome. You have a husband who came from the endurance sports world, so you have a lot in common there, I'm sure. You're a professional woman, but you actually come from a whole other world of education. You have 3 degrees in varying things.
2
degrees.
Mm-hmm.
What are those degrees in?
Science, medicine, and then an engineering and design degree.
Yeah, and that's how you started your journey as a young professional.
Mm-hmm.
And before that even happened,
Mm-hmm.
you were born and raised in
Yeah.
Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
On a farm in Canada. I was very fortunate. My dad was a pilot with a big airline, and he you good? So yeah,
Your dad was a pilot.
Yeah, I was born on a farm. Or no, I wasn't born on a farm. I was born in Canada.
You were raised on a farm in Canada.
I was raised on a farm in Canada, but my dad was a professional. He was a pilot, but had a lot of time. And
Like a ranching pilot or a professional pilot?
he was a professional pilot. He was a commercial pilot for Air Canada.
Nice.
Yeah, and so, but he'd been doing that for a long time, from when he was really young, and so he had a lot of time on his hands. And my dad's a workaholic, and so he needed to do something to keep himself busy and keep us busy.
What kind of farm was this?
So it was a cow farm, but it was a lot of different things. It was chickens and horses and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't necessarily for making money. It wasn't necessarily.
Lifestyle.
It was a hobby farm, but it was a working farm.
So you were shoveling shit? Is that what you're telling me? What were you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Milking cows?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have a functioning farm. You still have to look after the land. So we're still, out there haying in the heat of July and bringing in the hay and feeding the cows and maintenance, looking after driving tractors when you're 8 years old. And
what was mom doing?
Mom was mom. Mom was leading the charge. She had 4 kids, and she reared the roost. Like, she looked after us like nobody's business.
Yeah, she was running the farm, right? Dad's flying. She's running the farm along.
Yeah.
Raising 4 kids. So you have 3 brothers and sisters?
Yep.
Are you the youngest?
No, I'm middle, second to youngest, and I'm the mediator.
You still are.
I still am.
That's still your role.
Yeah, always.
Mm-hmm.
You're born into it. But no, very fortunate upbringing, and I truly believe that that's where the love of the outdoors and nature and the respect for the outdoors came from.
Mm-hmm. And for animals as well.
And for animals, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had a really significant thing happen in your life when you were young, age 2, I believe, that really catapulted your life journey, your path in a totally different direction that most people would never experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah. We were on the farm, and you're living out there and just doing what you need to do every day. And I had an accident, an unfortunate accident that happened, that could have affected me a lot. I think a lot greater than it did, in a negative way, but I actually think it really impacted me in a positive way, and it kind of forged who I was. It did sever my left leg, and then had a whole bunch of ramifications afterwards. My parents, gosh, like amazing, amazing people. I can't, being a parent now, and understanding what I went through, I couldn't imagine that happening to one of my children. So I am totally blown away by them.
It was a vehicle of some sort, right? That ran your leg over or ran you over. You were about 2 years old running around.
So it was a big power lawnmower that severed my left leg, and various other injuries that came from it, but that was the biggest one. And then, really at that time, not to date myself, but that was, in the early 70s.
It's fine because you and I are the same age, so I'm okay with
that. Exactly. But they managed to kind of retouch it, and
they did.
They did, and then there was lots of kind of fallout from that we dealt with, the stretching, lengthening the leg because it didn't grow, and then stopping the other leg from growing so that it didn't outgrow that other leg, and then kind of Mother Nature and God kind of taking his role and helping me out by making, my femur grow a little bit longer to compensate, and so here I am. I mean, it hasn't slowed me down, and I think, in fact, it's probably forged that perseverance, into my being at a very young age.
Yes.
Just like this is a challenge that you're going to have your whole life, but don't let it stop you. Don't let it hold you back.
Well, I know you dealt with surgeries and procedures and all of the challenges around compensating and, family challenges, stuff that would just happen to naturally take care of a young child into, young teenagehood or so. I believe it was somewhere into the teens where you were still dealing with all that physical stuff. Mm-hmm. But at what point did you transition into an athlete? And I believe your first sport was skiing.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of happened simultaneous. Like, it was just part of life. Where we were, you're living in Canada. I think as a function of just kind of enjoying your life. My parents, as a family, we went out and we skied every single weekend.
Wow.
And we have a really good community and culture in Canada around skiing. And they kind of, totally got behind that. And so every weekend, the entire family, all six of us, were doing something related to skiing. And there's small communities and clubs, and they're kind of your extended family. And so it just kind of grew out of that. And you became really good at it because you spent a lot of time doing it.
Well, no,
and you're
not all
inspired.
of us do, but you
Oh.
became good
Well, yeah.
to an extent. And what
Yeah.
age were you competing?
Oh, well, I mean, from the age of 4 years old, you're competing, and then you just kind of go growing up in the ranks, and you do as much as you can, which is it's an interesting culture in Ontario because there's a lot of really good skiers, like a really good nationally ranked skiers that come out of seemingly a little
The
bump,
woods.
a little bump in the little hill,
Mhm.
and we don't have mountains there, but I think because of that, it kind of creates this culture of, well, I don't have much, so I'm going to spend the time that I have in perfecting my technique. I'm going to perfect the things that I can do, the things that I can control, and become a really good, technical skier.
What community did you grow up in? Where's this at?
It's just north of Toronto, kind of in the first part of topography that exists in Ontario, the escarpment, and yeah, it's kind of a cool place.
How in the world did you get on the national team?
Well, it was. I mean that you're definitely
Work
giving me
ethic.
well, you're giving me more kudos than really I deserve, because at that point you're still young, you're still a kid, you're still
didn't know any better.
forming. Yeah, you're still kind of formulating who you are and where what your skills are, and so there's always these development groups, and so I was just in provincial, really development. So it's stage, like you don't really.
But this is through high school. A lot of high school age kids are not choosing athletics, especially when they have, a physical challenge to overcome and are doing a lot of other things. They're not choosing that path, but you did. And then at some point, you were even helping to coach the younger or mentor the younger athletes in that space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just life. I don't know. I don't really think of it as much. Really, it was just that was our life, and we were going outdoors and enjoying it, and you're kind of fostering the community around you, and doing what you need to do to just get outdoors and enjoy the things that were in front of you. So yeah, we were competing, but we were also at a young age. But that's kind of the culture too. Is being part of it at all levels. So competing, but then also coaching, and so
Giving back.
Yeah, it's just part of advancing and exploring who you are and what you're capable of from both sides. And so it was kind of a nice extension to just going to high school.
Mhm.
Um,
So there was that kind of interdiscipline with the family and adventurous spirit in the family. And then you also had a quest for education. So you went off to college. Where did you go to university?
I went to University of Waterloo, which I'm thankful for. It was there's very few universities. There's a few universities. Let me put it that way, where you get to have the experience of going and getting practical knowledge in what you're being educated in, and Waterloo was one of those.
Studying.
And so yeah, it was kind of a pre-medical, biochemistry, physiology, and so I had the fortunate experience of going out and getting a lot of practical experience in a hospital setting and lab and research settings. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like I'm really at the beginning of this big long journey, and working with some docs and having that privilege, it was like, oh my goodness, like it's going to be a long time before I can actually get to be creative, because I do have this creative half of me that feels stifled if I get too locked into a a lab or scientific setting. So yeah, I mean it was great, and it was good experience, and but I was starting to feel a little bit stifled. So
You finished your degree, but then
I did.
you were, because this creative, thirst within you, you decided to go into technology or into the tech industry. How did that pull happen? Tech.
Well, I was really trying to figure myself out. I was trying to figure out
We
something
still are.
well, exactly. And I think I didn't realize, I was looking for the answer, and right away. And maybe that was youth and naivete, but I was trying to find something that could satisfy both sides of the brain. And so I kind of fell into industrial design engineering, and I thought, oh, this is really cool because it's engineering, it's creative. You kind of have to combine the both of them together, and that's something really unique about me that I wanted to kind of express. And so I went through and got that degree, but then I was like, oh, can you actually, is this actually going to satisfy that? But anyway, I got into the tech industry in the software business, and happened into a company called Alias, and then very quickly Alias Wavefront, that was doing a lot of special effects and animation, but it was also serving the industrial design world and the development of industrial design products like cars and.
You found them,
Consumer
you were
products,
still
all
in
that
school, and you hadn't
Yeah.
graduated yet. It was like an internship of
Yeah,
some sort. So
exactly.
where was this at,
This was in Toronto.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really, yeah.
You got your foot in the door.
Got my foot in the door
Young and
there.
hungry.
Yeah, and then it kind of opened my eyes up to the whole kind of computer science and software world, and kind of bridging the gap and bringing the creative and engineering into that whole piece. And so that kind of just blew my mind. It was a really cool setting, and it was I just feel fortunate to have been a part of that kind of culture at that time, because it was kind of right before the tech boom. And so I got to experience that, and it was like just riding a massive wave. Yeah, that was crazy. But I got to experience that for quite a number of years, a few years in Toronto, and then we got there was an acquisition that happened, and then that actually is what launched me into Silicon Valley in California.
Yay, to my
Yay.
side of the world. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And at this point, your early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
not far out of college, working in tech.
Mm-hmm.
How were you dealing with your athletic life, your physical life, and how were you serving that other side of you as a person, or did it go to sleep for a while?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it definitely went to sleep for a while. This was this kind of became my focus of trying to establish myself in a career, and what that looked like. And this was really exciting, and it rewarded people that could respond and adapt quickly.
Mm.
And so I was always the one with my hand up, like, yep, yes, please, yes, yeah. Anybody want to go to California? Yes, I'm going to California. Yes, what do you need? Okay, whatever needs to be done. I was there and ready with bells on, because I just didn't want to miss out on where this could potentially take you or lead you. And I always I don't know why, but even from a young age, I always felt that California was a draw, a pull. I was going to be there. So it was exciting, and I was young. I had the freedom and to just go wherever. So.
Yeah. We'll take a little breath. Take a little break. Yeah. Since we have to edit out that fridge that just kicked in anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
You're in California.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hit that one again. So you've landed in California. You're working in tech.
Yeah.
You have a lifelong history of being in the outdoors, being athletic, living that sort of lifestyle. And now you're in Silicon Valley. What are you doing physically? Are you in the outdoors at this point? Are you sitting in a cubicle? What's your life look like as an athlete in California?
Yeah. I mean, you're in California, so you're in this haven of the outdoors, but you're contrasted by, being in an office setting.
Screens.
Yeah, screens, cubes. Now they do their best in Silicon Valley to kind of make it fun and exciting, and it's that total typical Silicon Valley setting that you see movies about or read about. Like it was
Well, your
just
first
it was
company
crazy.
was sitting on the Google.
Yeah, it was on the
landscape,
big
right?
campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and there's foosball tables, and there's, you know, just crazy parties, and it was really, it was very exciting. But and I was all in. Trust me, I was all in. I was like, this is the shit. Like this is the bomb. I gotta, like, I am so stoked to be here. But then there was always this wonder around me, like I'm in California, and there's these mountains and all. So it actually, that's really when I opened up. I bought my first mountain bike, and I kind of my time off, I'd kind of go up and explore the trails. That's where I first started not ultra running, trail running, and just, yeah, getting my shoes out there in the dirt in California, and wow, this is kind of a cool thing. And it became kind of a zen. It was my time away from the office. Spent a lot of solo time, kind of exploring, and that was my first. That was my first real experience at kind of solo pursuits.
Mm.
Was kind of contrasting these intensely community driven, all in
Ski
city
team, sort of.
well, the ski team, but also the community
production
life
team at work.
of tech, right? Like
Right.
you're kind of bought into all of your colleagues, and that means from the moment that you wake up right through till midnight. Like it was just these big jam sessions. Like going to work was just a big old community loving, where there was very little time during the day where you had a moment on your own. You were always with other people. You were in these cubicles. You had these jam sessions. You were brainstorming, and it just kept going, like through dinner and evening, and you'd be at bars and parties. But you're not talking about
turning off
life.
work.
You're talking about how you
You're
can
on the
make
project.
what you're building cooler, better. How awesome would it be to make you know, this particular feature in the software, like uber awesome, so that they can integrate it into such and such film or whatever, because you're in that kind of film space. Like that was really the time when animation was really was taking hold, and you were the kind of the leaders in that
Your team
space.
was.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Where you learned ferocious skills around strategy and teamwork, which later served you, of course, in expedition adventure racing. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought about
the relentless pursuit of where the hell are we, where are we going, and how are we going to get there together?
Yeah.
Living or dying together.
Yeah, we're on a crazy shit ass ride. And
no maps.
Right. Yeah, and there are no maps.
Hands up.
We're in no man's land at this point.
Yeah.
And
uncharted territory.
But it doesn't matter, because I got the A team around me.
Boom.
And we are making shit happen at all costs, and you just adapt and move forward.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That leads perfectly into you found adventure racing through relationships and friends and exploration and curiosity, you know, like a hunger to be back in the outdoors. Your first adventure race was, what age are you and when is this?
Yeah.
It's been about 20 years.
I'm 26, 27.
Mm-hmm. Why did you pick this adventure race? Whose idea was that?
Well, it was mine. It was mine. It was
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, well, it's you know, you're in this tech environment. You're looking at screens. You're in dark rooms, and you're just, yeah, you spend a lot of screen time together. But I just had this need to get this other stimulus from nature. Like I was missing that connection to nature. I was desperately kind of wanting to get my boots on the ground and get my hands in the dirt, and like a lot of people of my generation, I guess, you know, we saw Eco Challenge on TV. And I was like, what the heck are these guys doing? Like, I want some of that. Like, they're out in the middle of, like, these people are crazy, and I am crazy like that, and I want that. So, yeah, I was like, I don't know how to get there, but I'm going to figure it out. And so immediately I, you know, started searching online and found a local organizer who was putting these crazy ass quote unquote adventure races on a smaller scale, and went out and volunteered, and that's how I got in. Volunteering is a cool thing because it gives you that it gives you a boundary of entry,
safe way to explore
a safe
the
way
space.
to come into the space. Exactly. So you're kind of like looking at it from the other side, and then you start to look around. You're like, these people are just like me. Like they're not. They're just
superhuman.
Yeah, they're just regular old people, just like me, and there's nothing stopping them. They're just going out and doing it. Well, I want some of that. So from volunteering, I found kind of some peeps that I thought were cool, and you just jump in, you sign up, you jump in.
You formed a team.
So I jumped on a team, and then the team kind of builds and did some smaller stuff, but very quickly got us into some big stuff, and we got some sponsorship and.
Well, your first team, so to be clear, your first team was 3 men, 1 female. You were the female?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were going to go long course at this point, so you had to be sponsored, or were you just forging the path and sponsorship came later?
It all kind of happened at once. It was kind of just all kismet. It was very quick. I did a couple small races, but very quickly it was like, let's go do
we
some
need
big,
a female.
Let's go
and
do
you've
some
got
big stuff.
Some skills.
Yeah, let's go do some big stuff. So I think did a few races in California, but then I think we jetted off to New Zealand. And
was this Team Subaru?
And then we did Southern Traverse, New Zealand. For those people that are old like
school.
Me, yeah, they know what that is. But
Old school's cool. So you were sponsored. Your teammates were. Who were your teammates at this point on Subaru?
Yeah, so we had just some rocking dudes, and they're still rocking it today. Like
they're still in the game.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so
were you.
Well, I guess I did. Yeah, I guess so. But no, they're just passionate individuals. Egos, really don't matter, and just it's about going out and doing it and loving what you do. And so.
How long did you race competitively with that team?
Well, the team, so Team Subaru of America was around, I think, for 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And there was kind of a core quiver of people that were on and off of it for that amount of time. I was one of those, and you just kind of build your calendar and away you go, and then figure out who can make it and who can't and all that kind of stuff. But it was a different time in the sport. There was kind of that time where there was teams that were getting sponsorship, and
that was all new.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely not the same today. The sport's just in a whole different space, which is kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting to have been, towing
on the
line,
frontier.
Towing the line, for this many years. Like, it's seriously 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, it was 98 when we first got in the sport, and it's 2018. Like, seriously, 20 years. And I've kind of been on both sides, like as a racer and as a race director, and
not kind of. So you don't really do things like I'm kind of doing this. That's
right.
Not the nature of who you are. I love that about you. So at some point you said we collectively, because you had this team of pioneers in the sport who were living and breathing it 24/7. You still had other jobs, right? You're still paying the bills.
Yep.
Okay, so you're normal people with jobs doing this. At some point you transition, like, let's put on our own race. Why?
Well, so my partner at the time, Dan, had a series of local races, the Calico Adventure Series. So they were a series of smaller, progressively growing from 24 to 36 hours over 5 race series. each year.
Is this Canadian or North America?
No, it was California.
California.
And so I was helping him put these on, and loved it. Loved the production side of it. Thought it was really amazing. And then we had this kind of kismet collaboration between Subaru and some people that were totally stoked about the sport that kind of were getting into it. Let me start again. So it was kind of a time where there was this.
Let's take a breath first because we'll have to put an air gap in there.
It's hard to explain. It's,
So you want
a lot of relationships and whatever. And it's like
without letting it get crazy or too telling.
Right.
How it went from the calico space into we are sponsored by Subaru, going to put on a race, and then they were title sponsor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to say that piece or not, but why did that team, the people you were with at the time, this is not going to go on tape, why did that team decide to become a production team rather than a racing team? So that really, to me, is kind of fascinating.
Well, we were racing at the time. We were a racing team. Yeah, we were a racing team. Yeah, we were a racing team, but we were producing races as well. And
okay, so let me ask that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're racing with this team sponsored by Subaru, and at some point you transition into a production team launching your first race.
Well, no, it wasn't really our first race because we were a racing team and producing this shorter series of Calico adventure races, 24 to 36 races, or 36-hour races, pardon me. And so we were in the production space, we were in the race space. We were kind of doing both at the same time. And Subaru was on board, and we just decided, look, at that time with Eco Challenge, we knew that it was going away, but it didn't really own the space in North America. And we thought, hey, this is opportunity. Let's bring this amazing expedition experience, this expedition adventure race, to North America. So that combined with some really cool people that were super passionate about the sport and can bring in some resources. So that kind of triage of people kind of came together, and we decided, let's bring Primal Quest. Let's bring Primal Quest to life.
The Primal Quest brand was where that name even come from?
It was, I mean, people have heard it before, so I don't want to overuse it, but it was definitely born from a napkin conversation.
Napkin?
In-N-Out Burger napkin.
In-N-Out Burger. Listen, athletes need protein and beer.
Yeah, and certainly want to. I was one piece of the puzzle in that, but so I definitely don't want to take.
Well, everything you do is team based.
Yeah,
I mean that's
absolutely.
just who you are.
Absolutely.
It's who in this industry. There's no other way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so it made sense. It made sense for us to do it. We felt like because we had all of these contacts and we had these resources and we had Subaru, and so out came Subaru Primal Quest.
Subaru was title sponsor from the gate.
Yep.
Wow,
for 3 years. Yeah.
They were all in on you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first race was when and where?
It was the summer of 2002 in Telluride, Colorado.
Telluride.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Amazing setting.
Okay.
Amazing. And just like anything, like, as a race director, that there's always, touch and go.
Mm-hmm.
And to not surprise, like Telluride, we just went all in. We went from smaller production, so we had that production experience, but this is big time.
Why did it go immediately to a 500K 10-day expedition?
Because, we were inspired by Eco Challenge. We really wanted love that Eco Challenge experience, and we wanted to bring it to North America. That's where it was definitely that whole Eco Challenge, Rake was that Southern Traverse. Yeah, let's put them all in there.
But you chose to go long course expedition and do like the 10-day model. And I know, you can, winning teams are doing it faster than that. But for normal people like me, you got to be honest, like the shit gets real after a certain amount of time. So you understood that going longer was going to, and maybe having a smaller field than going after that audience that could do the 24, 36-hour model of this race. It's a whole other person that's going to toe the line.
We didn't think so.
No?
No.
You're like, hey, get out of the cubicle, take the suit off, put the spandex on, and let's rock.
Because that's who we were. That's where I came from.
That's true. Yeah. So why not? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and you proved obviously that was the case. You know, like anybody can do this. You've seen that now in all your years of experience race directing.
Yeah. You got to make a commitment. There's no doubt about it. You can't just go from the couch to 10 days. But no, it doesn't mean that, you're not an elite athlete. You don't have to be an elite. They're out there for sure. Like, that generation of the Ian Adamson and Robin Benacasa and Rebecca Rushes of the world. Absolutely. But, it's, you put some time and dedication into it. Yeah, you can do it. Mm-hmm. Why not?
Yeah. Well, you've seen hundreds, probably thousands of them now actually do that. Mm-hmm. And some of the best experiences as a race director is seeing those people.
Amazing.
What? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspirational. And this is seriously what drives me. Like, I love to see that. I love to see the transformation, the inspiration, the passion come out in these people, because it is awe-inspiring. And this is what I'm super, super confident about in terms of being a race director, is that I can guarantee that it will be a life-changing experience. And I know it sounds cliche and it's overused and all that kind of stuff. I am serious, girl. Like, it is amazing. Like, and it will change every single person. There is no doubt. Going out and doing something like this and getting that full-on challenge from Mother Nature, like, there's full
submersion.
Yeah.
Full submersion, right? You toe the line. It takes you a little bit of training strategy. You've got a team. But once you set foot on that journey,
it's all shit is going to go down.
The layers are starting to peel.
And it is going to be the most authentic experience that you can experience. Like, it just is. There's just no doubt.
Preempt. We can take a little break. Check time. We're good. Okay, cool. This is good. Do you need to pee?
Do you?
We're good, because I actually set a timer over there and I'm watching this. So you don't have to think about those things. Isn't that funny? So you're in production, so you're like, So, speaking of full submersion, like all in, unplugged, adventure unplugged.
Yeah.
I watched the Primal Quest Tahoe short film that you were part of production on, 2015. And you see in there all these ages, shapes, sizes, demographic spectrum.
Yeah.
So awesome. Like, literally, I want to just register because I watched that, right? And I don't even have the skills. I've done one adventure race. But I immediately thought, they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about the film production component of this. Why are you involved in that piece? What does that look like?
Well, I think that's where my originations, my career back in tech and film, feature film production, kind of come into play a little bit. I have that creative kind of bent, and
I have the skill.
I have a bit of skill in that area, and so I like to dabble. That's like a passion. I think I definitely have an eye for that kind of thing, and I just love it. And so I definitely have an opinion about how I want things to kind of translate. And again, going back to that authentic voice, like I just like people to see what's actually going on, because I think that it's valid.
Well, you're a storyteller, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's what you do when
Yeah.
you're producing a film. Even when you're a race director, we are so gifted in the fact that we have an opportunity to use that gift to tell the stories of our athletes, right? That platform.
Mm-hmm.
We're so blessed with that.
Yeah.
You've taken that to a whole other level.
Well, I just set the stage. I mean, the way you're thinking about the course and the course design and what people are going to be going through and at what point during, how many days in and all that kind of good stuff. Like, it's just there. Like, and I've always said this, the stage is set. Our job,
Mother Nature's the stage.
Mother Nature is the stage, and we're just kind of plotting a course throughout it. And then as a documentarian, as a film, from the film production side of it, we're there just like we got to capture that. It's there. It's just there for the offering.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen for every single person. So our job is to get it there and capture it.
And the reason it's so important to tell that story of the human experience during an expedition, adventure race, ultra endurance race is because why? Why is it so important to tell that story?
I think that, and this is why, I really was the motivation for bringing Primal Quest back, is I think it's an important story to tell because it's so easy to get caught up in who we are every day, being moms, being, driven by the almighty dollar and, bigger, better, faster, bigger houses, bigger cars, faster cars, whatever it may be. That's our advice.
Thinking about retirement.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some odd, I mean, we all have bills to pay and we all have.
Yes, we do.
We all have to be real in our expectations of what we want from life. But you know what? Every day we're living our authentic being. Like take all that electronics away and all of our personas away. Who are we really, at a deep core? We're just real people that want to have an amazing life. And that's where I think, Primal Quest, and that's what gets me jazzed about what we do and what keeps me motivated and getting up in the morning every day is we are there to offer that connection back to nature. And that is, we all know we're driven by that, but it's so easy to lose that. But to have that on the radar or to have that to be something that we're working towards is really important. It's really, really important to keep us grounded, to keep us real, to keep us authentic, and to create those experiences where they're just stripped off, bare, raw. Oh, right. This is who I am. This is what's important in life.
As a human species.
As a human species. And to take those back just makes you a better person. And that's what I feel Primal Quest represents. And that's why it's so important, is we represent that offering to keep you real, keep you authentic, make you realize, oh, these are the important things in life.
Keep your life in check.
Yeah, keep it on track.
And then the team piece, like how do I relate to humans? How do I operate in this world as my authentic self, but as a partner in the space with other humans? Like you don't cross the terrain that has to be crossed with all the skills that are involved, the challenges that come your way with 3 other people or 2 other people or 3, whatever size your team is. I know now, we'll talk about Primal Quest, there's other options here, but having teammates and having to get it done.
Well, so here's what's interesting, right? Like you spend your whole childhood and adolescence and whatever, you're on teams, you're on soccer teams, you're on ski teams, you're on family teams, you're on all these teams all the time. As an adult, we all of a sudden become really isolated. You're with your spouse and you have your friends, but what team are you on? Yeah, I guess you have your work team.
Some people.
Yeah, you have your work team, but where you are reliant on your teammates. Like as an adult, we don't have team sports. And so it's a really unique unique situation where it's, not, I'm not going to say survival dependent, although in some instances it is, but where you're really just raw, you're who you are, you're stripped down, you're nasty, and you're stinky, and yeah, there are no egos, and this is who you are, and you're just doing it with some other cool adult peeps, and those are your teammates, and those experiences that you have with those people, you are bonded and attached to those people for life.
Well, and I'll tell you, because you and I are the same age, I didn't grow up on teams, and I know a lot of females, and I'm sure there's males out there too, who didn't have team sports when they were growing up.
Oh.
We really didn't even have the skill set or know what the hell that looked like.
Right.
And next thing you know, we're adults and then parents, and our kids are on teams, and we're like, wow, I missed that experience.
Yeah.
So for me, I know it was very much like, I want to know what that feels like. I want to go out there and forge a team.
Mm-hmm.
And that also is super cool. Like discovering teamwork for the first time and understanding the value of how an athletic team and the skills you learn in that space makes you so much better at work, so much better in a family environment. Because you all of a sudden have a skill set that you never had before. And it really transfers over in a powerful way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think because we live in such an ego-driven kind of society, we're always putting our walls up. The walls go up every single morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ready for work. You're like, getting all dressed. I have
to perform. I have to be a high performer on this workspace or family space.
And even if I have the fear about, do I have the skills? Do I have the fear? Yeah, that fear of failure. I need to give the perception that I'm not. Well, hello.
6 days in,
adventuring. Yeah. It's like, oh shit, guys, like you have to verbalize your fears. I'm freaking out right now. You need to be able to articulate that. And that is a whole, like, we protect that fiercely every day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're doing the reverse of that out there where it's like, I don't feel so good. I don't feel so hot, guys. I am hurting right now.
Carry my pack.
Right.
Help me.
I am like, I am just on the side of the trail, like crying like a little baby. Like, help me.
We've all been there as ultra athletes now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being the one on both sides, helping the teammate and the one curled up in a ball, like when the wheels are falling off the bus.
And you can be, you will be both of those people in that 10 days, for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's just an interesting soul experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. Like, because like I said, the walls get built, and this is a time to experience it with the walls fully revealed. You're just out there. You're on a platter. You're like, okay, this is truly who I am. And it's those times where the revelations really start to come alive.
Nice.
And you just it's real, and you're loving it. It's awesome. Awe-inspiring. And it's just, I overuse the term indelible, but it is an indelible experience. And there will be, trust me, there'll be a time 10, 20 years down the road, or 2 weeks down the road, where you're like, whoa, like that experience is with me. It's imprinted. It's part of my...
Years down the road.
Yeah. It's part of me, and I will come back to this. I will definitely come back. You always come back. Okay, yeah, this is who I am. When you need that centering, you're like, I'm going back there. Because that was really who I was.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think you kind of get it as I don't want to say an addiction, but it is kind of an addiction, because you're like, I want that experience. And so you keep coming back. That's what brings you back.
It's not an addiction. It can be. Some people perceive it that way. What are you running for and from and all that kind of stuff? I've heard all that stuff. I think you hit the nail on the head, which is when you had those experiences, you felt so deeply connected to yourself on a soul level that why the hell would you not want to go back there? Because that's who you really are. And you were good, bad, and all of the stuff that transpired, probably your best self at that moment. Why would you not want to go back there?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about Primal Quest. So you've built this brand with your teammates. How many Primal Quests were on the 8th edition? Right? So we're going to British Columbia. We're in British Columbia. We're working on the project right now. That's why we're drinking copious amounts of coffee and running up and down mountains and rafting rivers and all this awesome glaciers and fun stuff together. 8th edition, and you're still in. At the helm.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're
lady race director, dude. It's what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly. I certainly didn't get here on my own. It's been, it's definitely been a journey. I had the honor of kind of being there at the kind of founding stages. But like I said, I certainly wouldn't take all the credit. It's been kind of, it sounds completely hokey, and I know probably you're going to cut this out.
Maybe not. We don't cut out cussing. We might not cut this out.
Right, exactly. But it's I truly believe that Primal Quest came into an existence on its own, and it's a life unto itself. It's its own being. And
so the brand has human life.
I believe so.
Blood pumping, oxygen.
I believe so. I know people are going to think, oh my God, what has she been smoking? And she's been out there too many days on the trail. But I mean, that's the way I look at it. Is that we kind of it came out of this genesis of this will and inspiration that we all collectively had as a group of partners. And it grew into something super duper amazing, fantastic, like a newborn child. And it was like, oh my God, we were in Telluride. And it's like, holy crap, what did we just create? Not unlike, when you have
a baby.
New life that's part of your family. And so, it kind of went through. So it's been living its life. Like it went through this, I was fortunate to be involved with the first 3 iterations. And then it kind of took a bit of a break, and it went on to kind of new leadership and management, and went through a whole kind of
teenage years,
adolescence. Exactly. That kind of went through. And then, I kind of feel like it's kind of in its young adult phase, and I'm happy to kind of be back into its life and breathe this kind of, not a new direction, but kind of reiterate where it came from. It's like, remember this? This is where you came from. This is, as a parent, you're kind of creating leadership and guidance, but in a it's your early 20s, where it's like you kind of have this perception of, well, I can do anything. I'm going to go off. And it's like, no, let's just remember where we came from a little bit. And let's kind of forge a direction that's going to be healthy. And I don't know. I don't want to sound egotistical or elitist, but yeah, it's definitely kind of let's remember where we came from, why we're doing it, the importance of what it is that we're trying to do, and so that we can continue through our 20s and into 30s and 40s and 50s and into but in an authentic way. Like, let's remember why this is important. Let's bring this to a new audience that can understand and benefit from it, because it is a really valid and important thing to experience.
Well, there's so many legacy players in the sport, still at Primal Quest, still involved. Directors, players behind the scenes, leadership, and they're still in because they never left, right? No. So This is so much
It's-
part of who they are.
That imprint is in them. Yeah.
Right. So the teenager and then now the young adult. And so it's so cool for me to see old school
Mm-hmm.
meets the new audience and the new way of being in endurance sports.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating to see what's happened with obstacle racing and Spartan and all that younger generational, like, let's go outside and do wild and crazy things and get fit. And I cannot wait to see how these worlds not collide, but literally like together create a whole new way of Primal Quest and expedition adventure racing. What do you think that's going to look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's exciting. I think this is what, like, I've always tried to break it down and say, like, I was never like I don't think you're never born an expedition adventure racer. An expedition racer is always born from something else.
Mm-hmm.
You're an ultra runner, you're a mountain biker, you're an OCR fanatic, whatever
Ironman,
it is,
Spartan,
right?
all of it.
Yeah, it's those are all potential people that could come into the sport and really embrace it. And so, you know, my mission in kind of coming back to Primal Quest after, you know, my hiatus way, was really to kind of tap into all of those individuals. Because, like, you know, what are we? We're an expedition adventure. But what really is that? Well, when you break it down, it's like we said, ultra running, it's mountain biking, it's people that want to go out and have an amazing outdoor experience.
Water.
Yeah, paddling.
Ropes.
All
Navigation.
that kind of stuff. But just in a consecutive back-to-back way.
And even slower, like it's not fast, it's strategic.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
teamwork.
Yeah.
So you don't, it's
Absolutely.
not, you know, it's that same thing, like anybody can do it. You just start doing it.
You just do it. Right. Don't let your fears and whatever is going on in your brain, you know, stop you from going out and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it's about.
What about obstacle racing and this new announcement you're about to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a completely natural progression. You know, I love to see what, you know, Ian has obviously been, you know, an icon in expedition adventure racing for, you know, a lot of years. And now he's an icon in the OCR space, with a vision, with a healthy vision of where this should go. You know, we had a conversation just the other week, and it's you know, we were almost finishing each other's sentences, Ian and I, when we were talking about, you know, what is the relationship between OCR and expedition adventure race. Well, OCR is really just a smaller version of an expedition adventure race. That's kind of where OCR came from, was really, how do we batten this down? How do we recreate what Mother Nature has to offer, but to more people in more urban areas, and kind of contain it, but recreate it. So we're going to create these obstacles that mimic what Mother Nature is doing.
Climb the mountain, go through the mud,
right?
You know, get wet.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But all those things are really just, you know, a recreation of what we're doing in an expedition adventure race.
Yeah.
But packaging it up in such a way that more people can do it. Well, that's awesome, and like, it's a huge industry.
Spartans crushed it.
Crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and let's now come into the scene and offer something that's really a graduation. So now you've been doing this, you can certainly apply those skills to going out now into Mother Nature, doing longer formats, doing
hence the birth of Primal Pursuit.
Right. Yeah.
Which is basically your short course version. Short course, haha.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's still a solid 5 days.
Still a 5-day race.
In the outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But so much more reasonable, and definitely a
Yeah.
great transition
Mm-hmm.
for people who are time crunched,
Mm-hmm.
resource crunched, or just need a little support to get this done. So that would be me. Sign up tomorrow. Help me have this experience with my teammates. Basically, like a freaking the best vacation in my entire life.
Exactly.
And help me get it done and understand the space before I
Yeah.
move on to the next
Yeah.
level if I'm ready to go there.
Exactly. And maybe I'm not at the point where I have a quiver. Like I've got a whole band of crazy people, of 4 people. But I got
Me and my girlfriend,
right,
me and my
wife,
husband.
my son.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like
Me and my son.
right? I
That'd
want
be
to
awesome.
Yeah,
Forrester, get ready, buddy.
Exactly. I want to go out and have this because that's a pretty amazing experience to share with some loved ones for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super. It's a really. It's a new concept, but I love it. I love that we can bring it to more people and that more people will be able to come out and experience it. Because hell, you and I just did crazy stuff going out and getting this stuff ready and prepared. And it's like, all I want to do is share it with as many people as I can. So this is an opportunity for more people to come out and have the experience, have this authentic, holy crap, amazing, just get blown away by Mother Nature experience, and but do it in a way where it's a little bit more manageable. You can do it within the constraints of everyday life, of family commitments and work commitments and all that kind of stuff. You can come out and do it in a week. It's awesome.
We have 2 more things. I want to know, growing up, not related to sports and you as an athlete or even you as a race director, but you as a human being, who is the biggest influencer in your world that set you up for success? This kind of person that you are that just takes life all in. Who's that person?
My parents, my mom and dad. Yeah.
The farmers. The pilot and the farmer.
Right. Right. To say that, I mean, that was what I loved about my dad, was that my dad's a freaking, he's an aeronautical engineer. And he wanted us to have an authentic life. So, that the farm really did it.
The value system that he instilled as a human, that she instilled.
Yeah. You got to get out there and work. You got to work. You got to put your hands to the ground. You got to use your muscles every day. You got to.
And your brain, like they taught you to get educated.
Oh yeah, no. Well, but also the fact that nobody's going to do this shit for you. You got to go out and till the land. You got to get on the damn tractor. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's broken. We'll figure out how to fix it. You don't just call in the mechanic. He's not going to just drop in from the sky. Mm-hmm. You got to figure it out. Yeah. And and you're building shit. You're fixing shit. It's like you got to figure this out. Nobody is going to do it for you. And you just you've got the skills. Just do it. Just figure it out. And I think through the whole accident and all that kind of stuff, I just look at my parents. I go, oh, you had 4 kids. You had a working farm. You had a real job, a legit, pilot job. And yet somehow you managed to get one of your kids that had this crazy accident, like random crazy accident happen. And you managed to keep the homestead running, make sure that, the world's not falling down around you. And they're down in I mean, so let's put it geographically in context. So they've got this whole homestead, the farm, all that kind of stuff, and you've got a kid that's down in a hospital, an hour and a half away, and they're there every single day.
Wow.
You got 3 other kids you're looking after. You got life happening. You don't know what is going to happen with, the whole limb thing and all that kind of stuff. But my parents push it through. They just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until it happens. And
Well, what's interesting to me now that you're saying that is that you're also the mother of 2 adopted kids, your husband and you, David.
hey,
Awesome.
so hold on though. So I'm going to stop you right there. They're my kids.
Bingo.
We have worked, your family comes to you in all different ways, shapes, and forms. They're not adopted. They're my kids. Like, and it's so funny because, like, why do we put that? Well, I'm going to take you down right now, Sam.
Go, baby.
But it's like, they're not adopted. They're my kids.
Your
They
babies, your
came to
babies.
us how they were supposed to come to us for whatever reason.
Mm.
I am their mama. For some reason, I am their mama, and they are mine. And there's no, we don't need to put a label on it. We don't need to quantify it or anything like that. Our children come to us for
And
a
you've
reason.
taken the values from your parents,
Yeah.
and now you're
Yeah.
bringing them to your children.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, that is the biggest stressor as a parent is that,
Dude, you're self-employed. You have 2 children.
yeah,
Your husband is self-employed.
yes,
You're an athlete. I mean, you have so many things going on in your world. And every day is that like striving for balance.
striving for balance and trust, but striving more than anything for authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Like grasping, like I want to make sure that no matter what, you're always going to be grounded for yourself, but grounded for your children. And I just like that. I want to make sure that they have those skills.
Yeah.
We got those from my parents and growing up on the farm and doing all that kind of stuff. But it was easier. Like you didn't have this electronic garbage that you're dealing with every day, and that is part of life every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's so easy for our kids to just get swept up into. Like, oh my God, it's like that's my fear is that, oh my God, we can just plug our kids in and they could just be plugged in. And now they need to understand those skills because they're that generation is built on that. So I get that they need to understand and appreciate all of that. But me as a person, that core of authenticity and being boots on the ground and understanding really who you are is even more important. And so I kind of hammer it into my kids. Not hammer it in a bad way, but it's just you make decisions every day. Okay, what are we going to do with them?
Making conscious choices.
Exactly.
Versus what's easy.
Right. So every day it's like, how do I teach them to find that person? Because
Within themselves.
Because when I'm long gone, I need them to know that that's there for them, that's there for each other. That they can always go back to that. That's their centering, that's their core, that's who they are. So every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, how am I going to teach them to get there today? And that can be just, we're going out for a family bike ride. Let's go out. And I call them nature walks. Let's go out and just nature walk.
Miniature primal quest.
Yeah.
Like that lasts for 30 minutes.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, we are getting physical exercise, but that really is insignificant. What's significant is that I'm watching them and I'm watching them take all this information in when they're out there. And it's like, it's amazing to kind of see it because it is kind of like that. When we're going out and doing an adventure race, you're almost going back to your child you're going back to who you were as a kid, and you're seeing nature again for the first time, and you're kind of these revelations like, oh my God, this is amazing, this is awesome, and you're experiencing things for the first time. And so I'm always game for taking my kids out and kind of seeing them experience it.
We were talking about your son yesterday because we had a little convo on the iPad. We were checking.
Oh, right.
Having some fun. It's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You and I are away from our kids for Mother's Day, so
yeah.
we needed to do that, and we wanted to do that. And you were telling me about him mountain biking, and he basically is like, let me do the tricks before I've learned the rest of the package.
Right, before I've learned the skills.
Dude, right? That's us. It's so reasonable for him to do that, and that's exactly what I said. I love that, right?
Yeah.
That's really who we are, and then we decided to play it safe and all the stuff that happens as we get older and we think about all these things that society's telling us.
Right.
These beautiful children are like that great reminder of,
yeah,
every day is a primal quest.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's a 15-minute walk in the woods, or it's this or that, and just go out and try the tricks. Do the tricks. The tricks are not, like, we all know how to do the tricks.
Right.
We just forgot.
Well, and as you get older, you put these limitations in front of you, and like yeah.
Or somebody told us we weren't good enough, or we couldn't do this.
Exactly.
And we know.
Yeah.
Totally untrue.
Yeah. Exactly. And like, my son, he's just like, no, I'm gonna go out and do it.
Yep.
And then whatever
I might fall down, Mom,
right,
but we're good here.
But that doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
Right. Don't put limitations in front of me.
Yeah.
Like, because and as parents, we're always doing that. Don't do that. Make sure you do that. And with him, he's just like, I don't care. I'm just giving her. Mm-hmm. I'm just going out and giving her and see what happens, and I'll deal with the consequences as they come up.
And then your daughter will sees it now, sees you as a female leader in her life, and is like, that is the norm. Oh. That's what girls do.
Yeah, no. And she's just, she's full on. Mm-hmm. She is full on. So she watches her older brother going out and doing it, and then but it's interesting because she observes and watches, and then she just gives her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap here, and I have one more question for you. Your husband David, and
mm-hmm.
you met adventure racing. So
and that
was your initial
community,
attraction, I'm sure, or shared passion. And now you have a life together. You have 2 children. You're running businesses. You're still on this journey together, on this expedition.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the daily rituals that you and David share that keep you happy and functioning and really like in this?
Yeah. Well, it's those indelible imprints that are in us that you wake up to every morning. You're like, okay, how do I get me some of that? And it's a struggle for sure.
It's cool that your partner knows exactly what the hell you're talking about when you say that.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And so you're kind of both. It's a conscious decisions every day to try to get us a little bit of that authenticity, that kind of, this is really bad. This is like totally hokey, but some of that primal experience mm-hmm. that is in us. Mm-hmm. That's what's important. And it's important for you to get it individually. It's important for you to get it together as a couple, and then collectively as a family. You're always trying to get some of that, because that's what it's all about.
Well, he shares your passion for this business, and he's on the leadership team. He's a director of Primal Quest. He's a stellar athlete himself. Daily rituals, is it like favorite thing to eat together, do together, talk together? Like, what's your connect in the day or the week? Is there like a way that you ground each other? Or do you just look each other in the eye and go, holy shite?
Yeah.
What's going down?
Yeah. No, and that's really what, like, right now, our life is a little crazy. But it's just in the knowledge that you have this deep connection, and that we're both, you're like, we've got to get there. We're getting there together. Every day we're trying to take a step to get there together, knowing that the goal is always the same. Like, our goals haven't changed. We're still still in this. And I've said this to you many times. Our life is an expedition adventure race.
Yeah. And actually, your family and David and you as leaders of it are the real A team now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are. So it's that, it doesn't need to be verbally communicated. Every day. It's just through your actions, and that, we know what we're trying to accomplish together in life, and that you're trying to take steps every day to get there together.
And there's no map.
And
there's no compass.
No, there is no map.
Well, the compass is connected to your soul and your heart.
Yeah. And
like you said, you're the heart. Well, like I said to you, many people have said, but you agree. You're the heart of Primal Quest.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's the compass.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we all, as navigators in our own life, have to give up the compass sometime and do that share it with our partner.
Mm-hmm.
But know that you're together collectively trying to still reach the same finish line. Peak. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was lovely getting to know you over the last bit out in the mountains and everything. I truly admire and respect everything that you've done. And I just think, as a lady boss yourself, completely humbled by what you've been able to do, but love that our lives have connected, and that we are busting this out together, because I truly, I truly believe that for some reason we were brought together.
Yeah.
And I'm super stoked to have you on the team. So
we're both
welcome.
Leos.
Yeah.
Must be it.
Well, I'm Virgo. You're Leo.
Oh, right.
We're connected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. So definitely power team, and welcome to the Primal Quest family.
Proud to be on it.
Love you, lady.
You too, babe. That's a wrap. That was awesome.
There was really nothing
so good.
That was really like.
Bring it back.